Hey guys, your key message for today is your 3D circumstances does not matter. It does not matter. Do not pay attention to what it is that's going on. Now you're probably thinking, Annie, what the heck are you talking about? How can we not see what's going on or what it is? Well, you're talking to someone who is 1, a psychic, 2, that really knows her stuff when it comes to energy, and 3, I'm on like a top spiritual mastery level, so which means I carry a very high level of psychic channeling advanced state. So I know my stuff. And when I say to you, when you enter into your manifesting state, don't pay attention to any of the 3D stuff. So let me give you an example. So I had a client that came to me, and her manifesting state was to manifest a specific desired person in. And I said, okay, you're in this state now, but what you've done is you've paid attention to the lack of communication. Why? Because what you've just done then is you've gone into a doubt frequency mode. There will be contact from that specific person, but what you cannot do is slip into what I call the 3D circumstances of what's going on. So I said this to my client over and over and over again. And I said, right, we need to really work on where this is coming from, and which is something that we did. Yes, there was a lack of communication, even though that person was a geographical distance away. So typically, a lot of people will say to you, oh, you know what, we don't think this relationship's going to work because there's a physical distance. And, you know, I just don't see it happening. Like, you probably get a lot of friends that say that, right? If you're in a relationship and then you meet someone and there's external factors that go on and they say to you, oh, you know what, we don't really think it's going to work out. Well, in fact, you can manifest your desire any way you want. So when I'm talking about 3D circumstances or the situations around you, it's comments like that, what people can see, but what they can't really see is your manifesting state and how it's going and how it's coming along. That's what you utilize a psychic for. So like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm going to give you some more information about what I've just said and how it's very different to utilize a psychic that really knows her stuff, but also how I've partnered up with other spiritual masters to bring you that exclusive insight when it comes to manifesting. So when you're utilizing like a top psychic or spiritual mastery, the reason why we are the way we are is because we're very much in tune with our inner state. We're very much connected to the universe, very much connected to how we get specific downloads about you, about your energy field, about certain things that have gone on in the past, the present, the future. We know specific stuff. We get those downloads because we've mastered our own inner state. Now, mastering that, not only does one acquire the energy that's universally granted, but one that passes such universal tests that are all in alignment to spiritual laws. So what better way to utilize someone who has that ability to like really look in deep, really look into, okay, right, how we're going to evolve you in terms of your manifesting state, getting your mind, body and soul aligned to certain desires that you want to achieve. Now, manifesting is not a bad thing as well. There's a lot of stories out there saying manifesting is really bad, shouldn't be doing it. Well, it's been given to us as a tool to co-create with the universe. So what better way to learn it than from people who have really mastered that connection with the universe? So how does one ignore the 3D circumstances around them? Well, I always say to people, surround yourself with those who have mastered or who are able to connect to their higher consciousness, who are really improving on their inner state and have that spiritual edge about them. Because when you surround yourself with those kind of energies, what happens is you excel in your growth, in your spiritual growth. You excel in your manifesting state and you become more 5-dimensional, i.e. living inside out. And that's the place where you want to be. So one of the subjects I used to love doing at school was history. And my teacher, Mr. Edwards, always taught me that when you have a source of information, I want you to look at who's written it, where's it come from, what does it say? What period of their life was this written or illustrated? What does it say? Because there's more to the source of information than what we just see with the naked eye, the 3D world. So when you start applying that technique around everything around you, whether it's the 3D circumstances around you, the 3D people, 3D events that happen around you, when you start doing that, guys, you're going to be a lot more spiritually smart as to what you allow to absorb in your inner state, because it's your inner state that creates your reality. You see, manifestations is all about being in a constant state, your mind, body, and soul. The moment you start allowing the 3D circumstances to affect your inner state, you're kind of like wobbling. You're kind of like delaying the process, the flow of that energy. And that's one thing you can really truly learn how to master. And one thing that I really coach my clients on. Because when you become in alignment of your mind, body, and soul, and you do that investment from within, it's like the energy is just coming in and it's flowing out, coming in, flowing out. So every manifestation that you send is received up on the non-physical dimension. So as I said before, utilizing psychics, spiritual masters, when we're able to download that information that's given to us by the universe, that information is coming from the non-physical dimension. So those validations, those key points, we are validating it and we're saying, right, X, Y, and Z, because this is what you're sending out and this is what we can see. So working with a psychic, a spiritual master, helps you to tweak that, but also will teach you how to fast track your manifestations too, because there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to preparing your energy to receive. And there's a lot more in terms of really getting behind that inner state, getting really behind removing that anxiety out of your energy field, getting behind all the stored traumas, everything about your energy field, just to make it really awesome for you to block off as well any 3-dimensional distractions and delays, but also making you very spiritually strong from within. So upon my travels in Nevada, I was sitting in a taxi and I was having the conversations with the taxi man, and we were having conversations back and forth about relationships, career, finances, and everything he was talking about was what is happening around him, the 3-dimensional. And for a moment, I stopped him and I said, if you really get behind an understanding that you are the driving force behind your inner state, and it's your inner state that determines your reality, you would not be saying and thinking what you're doing now. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, you've allowed the external circumstances, and in the past 20 minutes, you started talking about the external circumstances. Therefore, that has become more about your inner state. That has embedded in, some stories that you've told yourself about what the reality is, when in fact it's not. And he's like, what? He goes, are you delusional? I was like, no, I'm actually really pretty switched on. I go, I'm more practical than you are because I'm stepped into manifesting from a 5-dimensional. That means living inside out. I allow my inner state to control and create my reality. And I'm pretty good. And he's like, oh, tell me more. But sometimes even when you come across people, and it's not a coincidence that you do, when you have such energy exchanges between them, you have it for a reason. So me having that encounter with that taxi man, he shifted something within himself. He started questioning, okay, hold on. There's actually some sense with what you're saying. I said, yeah. I go, why am I going to listen to other people that's going to affect my internal state? Therefore, it's going to be created into my reality. It's called being spiritually smart. And he's like, oh. Because one thing that you guys can take away is people will have certain stories that they've created from what they've seen in the 3-dimensional, and that becomes their belief system, and then that becomes their reality, which is majority of the world. But you want to get behind manifesting from perfecting your inner state. Because if we're talking about manifesting a law of attraction and the secret, well, we need to go back to basics, guys. So one of the examples I'm going to give you guys is a lady recently came to me and she's like, oh, Annie, I can't really afford this. I was like, okay. I've written down my expenses and I simply can't afford this. So, right, okay. I was like, let's just shift something within your inner state, because what you've done is created a story that's reflected upon your reality that you cannot afford this. So over a series of sessions, doing what I'm doing, what I'm best at, then I said to her, right, that opportunity is going to come through this, because all you've done now is shifted your energy. And she's like, oh, I don't believe that. And a lot of people underestimate what we can do and what we see and how we can help you. So anyways, that opportunity came and it presented itself in a form of a project. When that project came, she's like, oh my God, Annie, this was near enough the same amount that I needed to get this done. I was like, okay, well, can you see what you did? Can you see how you shifted your energy? Right? You were too worried about saying, I can't really afford that, when you don't really understand that when you open yourself up in the form of abundance and the story that you created within yourself saying that you can't afford this, you've limited yourself. Why are you limiting yourself when you're a limitless being? And that's one of the affirmations I say on a daily basis, guys, is I am a limitless being. Because there's no way would I ever say a story like I can't afford that. What I do, and this is a tip that I'm going to give you guys, is go in the end desired outcome that you already have it. I already have that, but do it from a place of confidence. I already have it. I already know how it's going to look and how it's going to visualize and how it's just going to really present itself. I already know. So just remember, you're all a limitless being. You all have a soul, that's an energy in your physical body that is connected to the universe. You've been given the tool of manifestation to co-create the universe in terms of your desires, but also you do have your destiny part too. So the more you get behind that manifesting state, the more you get behind learning how to align your mind, body and soul, I'm telling you, you're fast tracking yourself spiritually. Your spiritual growth will excel so much that you'll be able to achieve a lot of things in a short space of time. And I'm living proof of that. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out my other videos on my YouTube channel, guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe and check me on my website with my other social media platforms. But until then, guys, take care. And anything else you want me to cover, drop it in the comments below.